What's happening? Welcome back to another episode of the Fight Out podcast. We're going to be talking about UFC 305. Me and Michael. Just before we dive in, thanks for the views so far. Anyone who's viewed, if you could like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. And if you don't agree with us, let us know in the comments and we can have a little chat down there. Mike, how are we?
Good, how are you?
Sound, mate, yeah, sound. What are your thoughts then on the card? We were just speaking a little bit then. I don't think you're as excited, are you?
Obviously I love the main event, but I just feel a little bit like other than the main event, there's nothing on there that massively excites me. I've got a little bit of bias myself against the lower weights. I don't really love the lower weight fights, and sort of a flyweight co-main doesn't really, although they're both sort of from that part of the world, it doesn't really excite me, even though Erceg looked really good against Pantoja, but we shall see. I've been wrong before and I can be wrong again, but the card doesn't get me going the way sort of 304 did.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I do get what you're saying. There's a few fighters on there that I like, which, I mean, to be honest, the prelims are a bit meh. I think I've only picked one fight on the prelims for the bet. I don't think you've picked any, have you? Or you might have picked one, maybe.
I've got a couple of picks on there. I haven't put them on my bet. I've tried to be a little bit conservative with the bet this week, but I've got sort of 7 picks that I like, but I've only put 4 of them onto an actual accumulator. Obviously, if people want to follow me in on all 7, then go so be it. But I'll be doing the 4, I think.
Yeah, okay, sound. So basically what we're doing this week again is just picking a bet, talking through the main card in particular, giving our thoughts on it. So we'll start at the main event. Is he coming back? DDP, first title defense. Bit of an interesting one because you don't know where Izzy's at. For me, if Izzy is the one before he fought Sean Strickland, it's a bit of a whitewash. But I've been wrong about Plessis a good 3 or 4 times now, basically since just before he fought that until. So I'm not gonna write him off completely, but I'm swaying towards Stylebender. What are you thinking?
Well, to be honest, I'm going to echo the sentiments. Everything you said there, the two things that hit home there. If Izzy's the Izzy we know and love from years gone by, I think he wins and he wins quite well. But on the other hand, I'm going to stop doubting Dricus du Plessis now because every fight I've fancied him to lose, and he looks like he's getting better and better. To be honest, I don't know what that nose surgery was or whether he's been on the Dagestani diet. But since he's had that nose surgery, he's come back and he looks like a different fighter. The pressure he puts on at that weight and the weight he carries, he's really strong. He's elite. He is elite. You can't deny him anymore. Yeah, you just can't deny him anymore. He's not lovable, is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's marketable because of where he's come from. Obviously, the first champ from South Africa. He's saying the first African champ, which is putting a little bit of bite in this fight, isn't it, with Izzy? And he said it's flagging off the 3 kings in Francis and Usman. But yeah, I know he just hasn't got like something to draw you in, has he?
I think a lot of the time it's like kind of fighting styles of champs, isn't it? You want your champion to be like flash, and I know that's not necessarily always the style that wins the belt. But he's got that wow, and he's got that knockout over Pereira. He's got some highlight reel knockouts. He's got some amazing wins. And as you say, he just looked miles off it against Strickland, didn't he? He didn't look like himself, and that's what it doesn't look to me like he's on sort of a skid or he's lost to Blakovic when he stepped up. He was just too big for him, clearly too big. Lost to Pereira at middleweight, who again is just too big for him again. And then he lost to Strickland. Strickland's his only loss for me where you think, ooh, what happened there? That wasn't the Izzy that we've seen. But Strickland had Izzy going backwards for the whole fight. No one else has been able to do that apart from Pereira in the first fight.
Yeah, it was a bit like Bilal against Leon Edwards last week, that fight. I think we said it, didn't we, on the podcast? Yeah. But he was going backwards the whole time. Obviously, Izzy likes to do his little thing in there and start pushing the pace a bit. I mean, I still am swaying towards Izzy to win, and I'm picking him for my bet personally. I think he's coming back with a bit of a plan in place. Like he's set in, he's loaded, he's done a lot. Maybe he wants to go up to light heavyweight potentially for Pereira. I don't know. But other than that, like he's done everything. So he's obviously back for a reason. Yeah. And I'm not having that du Plessis as the reason. So he's got something in his head. know what I mean? Like, he's got a little plan in place, I think, and obviously it starts here with maybe getting the belt back. If he gets this belt back, he's got to be the greatest middleweight of all time.
Yeah, he's already well in the conversation. He sort of was handed the torch by Anderson Silva, wasn't he, in that fight? And they're the two, really, for me, who go into that conversation. It's only really between them two.
Anderson, say George, but
no,
he just won the belt.
He won the belt, and it was a tactical comeback fight. That at the time when he come back, I think Tyron Woodley was the champ of at welterweight, and everyone wanted to see that fight, and he chose to go to middleweight, given that Bisping he thought was a bit of an easier touch. So GSP stays in the welterweight goat chat for me. It's between Anderson and Adesanya, and I probably would just go Anderson, just given sort of the wins he got, and he didn't really lose until very late in his career.
Yeah.
But on Adesanya, I think this fight for him could be sort of a crowning moment to be 3-time middleweight champ. I think he'd be the only 3-time champ. It's interesting. I've got him. I've got him as. What was that? Sorry.
There's one 3-time champ at heavyweight, isn't he? Seen it the other day on Twitter.
Oh, was the one?
Old school, yeah.
Not Andrei Arlovsky, is it?
Oh, Randy Couture won at heavyweight and won at fight.
Yeah. So. Okay, well, in the modern era, it's probably a little bit harder to do in the modern era.
Yeah.
I've got Izzy. I've picked Izzy for this fight. I've picked Izzy by decision, and I think it'll be quite close. But then I wouldn't be shocked if it was a wide win for Izzy either. I'd be shocked if Dricus won wide. I would be shocked. But if Izzy turns up and he can keep him off him, I think he could win quite handily. If Izzy gets comfortable in the cage, he beats everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to stay on this one for too long, but yeah, I agree. Can't see it being wide for Dricus. If there's a finish, I can only see it being Izzy.
Yeah.
I'm saying that from what we know Izzy can do, and also how much trouble Darren Till had Dricus in that round 2.
Yeah.
He had him hurt bad. I know that was before the surgery, and it was probably 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
There's been times when Dricus has been hurt, and let's be honest, Izzy, honestly, he can snipe anyone. So yeah, I'm going Izzy.
Yeah, well, Till doesn't strike. Till strikes obviously at an elite level, but he doesn't strike like Adesanya. Adesanya's kickboxing is the elite of the elite. So if he can snipe him, I fancy him to win comfortably. And my last thing on this fight before we move on, where you touched on there, he might move up to light heavyweight and fight Poatan. I don't like that fight for Izzy.
I don't.
What I'd like to see is I'd like to see him win the belt back, and his last defence before he rides off into the sunset, I'd like it to be Gamrot if he can put a few wins together. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Well, I won't disagree to it. I mean, I don't know if Gamrot deserves it yet.
Got to put a few together, but I think
I like the fight. I like the fight. I just don't know if I like it now. If you get me.
Well, what I just think with he's been the most active champion for years. I think if he gets the belt back, he'll learn from that and he'll be a tiny bit less active.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that Strickland one was too soon. After 2 wars against Pereira, even in the second fight against Pereira, I know he knocked him out, but he took some big shots up against the cage.
Yeah, he got it, didn't he? And he got it sort of late in the first round.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Okay then, Colmaine, you've just been slagging them to bits, saying that you don't like them. What are you thinking?
I don't dislike them. I just won't have loads to say on this one. I don't love the jeopardy in the lower weight. I love the technique. I love watching the fight.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of sort of when the title fights, when the Colmaines, they always tend to go the distance. But that being said, I think Steve Erceg's one of the only people at this weight who's got genuine knockout power. So I could be proved wrong this weekend. Kai Kara France has been there, done it, fought everyone at this weight, fought for the belts. I just think Erceg will have too much for him. I think he's too well rounded, and he's too big for him as well. He's got 4 inches on him. I just think it'll be an Erceg win. Yeah,
I also fancy Erceg. Obviously, Kai's had the layoff, and he's had a bit of trouble. He got concussed. I think he's in a little bit of a weird spot. He's in a bit of a Darren Till spot before Till got cut, not to mention him again. But where he's pulling out of fights. His fights are getting cancelled. When he's fighting, he's losing. And it's not like a nice little run. I don't think Steve Erceg's the fight to get out of that run. So I'm going Erceg. Similar reasons. And yeah, to be fair, that's all I've got to say on the co-main as well. I did like Erceg though in the last fight against Pantoja, because I had Pantoja to win comfy. And Erceg pushed him like really good.
He looked very good, and I think the problem with that fight was it was just a little bit too soon for Erceg. I think he gets back up there, and given Pantoja still a champ when he does get back up there, I would back him to beat Pantoja. I'll be honest.
That weight's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've like 3-4 title fights against each other, and it's like
that's why I just don't love the weight. Like it was, who was it who fought each other about 6 times?
Maybe in Moreno
and Figueiredo, yeah. About 6 fights every weekend. There was one they were fighting for the belt.
I know, but that is sort of why I like it at the same time, because it ended 3-2, didn't it, Moreno? I think.
Yeah.
So I sort of like that.
Yeah, there isn't many, like there isn't a lot of men who weigh 125 pounds or can ever weigh 125 pounds. Is the sort of thing
like that, isn't it?
The division is light, isn't it? What's that in kilograms? That's about 55 kilograms or something.
Yeah, 3.2 pounds per kilo in it. So yeah, 55 kg.
Absolutely ridiculous. I haven't weighed that since I was about 14.
Yeah, I haven't. No. I haven't been close to that, mate, since I was about 14. But yeah, okay. So moving on then. The next fight, I think potentially could be a fight of the night if it goes the way I want it to. Well, not necessarily the way I want it to, because I don't think that's going to happen. But if it just, if the two of them turn up game and they're a little bit risky, Hooker against Gamrot, he's, Hooker's come off a layoff. He's had a bit of a mad one with his arm, and he broke his arm. Surgery. He's come back. He's got about 25 million tattoos. Like he's obviously been chilling a bit, which you've got to because you're injured. I just don't think that bodes well for me going into this fight. I'm not. I'd love to go Hooker because I like him that much, but I think there's a bit of a difference here in skill level, and also Hooker's going to have the layoff.
As you say again, we're going to have to start disagreeing on this. We're going to have to start discussing this and disagreeing.
I definitely will do on the next couple.
I really like Hooker myself. I really like him, and I totally understand why he took this fight. If he can get this done, he's right up there in contention for sort of an interim title fight. He'll be right up there, and he might not get it, but he's up there and he's in the conversation. However, I don't think he's got a chance in this fight.
No, not a chance.
I think he gets beat. I think he gets beat quite badly. I think he gets beat up.
What, finished or just dominated?
I could see a late finish, a round 3 finish, or just dominated to a sort of a 30-26. I like Gamrot. I think Gamrot's underrated massively.
Yeah, I do.
He's got a win over Armin, who's essentially going to be fighting for the belt, and it was a good win as well. It wasn't even that consensus for me. It was a good win over him.
Yeah, he only got beat by Dariush, didn't he?
He's been beat by Dariush and Gurram but Gurram was his first fight in the UFC. Yeah, Gurram beat him.
Oh yeah, it's actually. Yeah, no, he's got a decent resume. He looks good as well.
The only disappointing thing with Gamrot for me was the Fiziev fight, because obviously it got stopped with the injury.
Yeah,
because he was fighting really well, and that could have been sort of a crown and win. I think Gamrot was fighting well. He was striking well with Fiziev.
Yeah.
But obviously it got stopped because of the injury, and we didn't get to see that fight play out. So who knows? That could maybe be his next fight. This is a risky fight for Gamrot, though. I think he's ranked 5th, and he's in that conversation. Yeah, so he's fighting rank 11 with no real look up from this fight, and he's already in the conversations for the interim title fight with Armin. So it's a risky fight. So it shows his game.
The thing, it's a risky fight for all the foreigners that are fighting on this card, like the non-Australians and non-New Zealand. First of all, because of time zone, they're like a day ahead, aren't they? The time's completely off. The fight, like we were talking about UFC in Manchester last week or the week before. This is similar. I think their main card starts at 5 a.m. Australia.
Yeah.
It's a mad one. That's arguably, I don't know if it's worse, but it's nearly as bad anyway as the Manchester card. And there's something to be said for home crowd advantage. Dan Booker favourites in England, never mind in Australia. The same with what's his face, Kai Kara France. He's going to be a fan favourite as well there.
Yeah.
There's something to be said definitely for home crowd advantage and where it is. With the last two, I just don't think I think the fight is a little bit wider than the home crowd. I said to you before we started recording, I think the odds on this card are quite wide. They're probably as wide for a relatively close card as I can remember. But I think the Gamrot Hooker fight is probably fair. Like it's, you know,
what was he about? Was he about 1-3 or something? Was he Gamrot?
1-2.
Oh, was it
2-7? He's gone to now, and Hooker's 5-2.
Yeah, so I would say that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
In this fight, I do like a Gamrot stoppage. I'll be honest.
Now that you've said it, I can see a late one.
Yeah,
see a late one. Hooker gets tired. He gets a bit hurt.
He's a zombie, as you say, and he'll keep going and going and going. And I think the ref might just sort of step in on this one.
Yeah. Next fight then, Bam Bam.
Yeah.
It's one for me. I love Bam Bam.
Yeah.
in UFC London when Tom fought Volkov, I was saying to Johnny like all the way there, I was like, I hope Tom wins. I hope he calls out Bam Bam and we get that fight. He won, called out Bam Bam, and it just never happened. I think he fought Cyril Gane, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's it. Not long after it, I think he had that lined up. So sort of cut Tom out of it, 'cause at the time Cyril Gane was closer to the title. And then obviously he's been on a skid ever since, but it's been an absolute murderer's row.
Yeah.
And he's game as they come. Someone here is going to sleep. I'm saying first round knockout. Either way, if you want to win some money and you want to build up your odds, go Bam Bam with a first round KO. Because I think he was above evens to win anyway, because Rosenstrike was the favourite. He's 7-4 to win.
Yeah, he was 2-1 just to win when I looked, yeah.
First round KO will be tasty there. Obviously, it's a big risk, but he's got power in his hands. I'm a bit of a romantic. He's on a skid, but he's back at home. If there's any place to turn it around, it's here. And I think Rosenstrike he's a good matchup for him because he's going to stand and strike with him.
Yeah. To be honest, I have disagreed. I have gone for Rosenstrike.
Oh, you would have to be fair on that one.
But this was a genuine 50-50 for me. And when I say a 50-50, I mean, as same as you said, somebody is going to sleep and somebody's going to sleep early. I've gone Rosenstrike. I just think he's slightly crisper striker, and I think he'll catch him. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if Tuivasa gets it done early as well. I've even wrote in my little notes 2-1 for tie. Just to win is hard to ignore on an accumulator. But I'm sticking to my guns and I'm going Rosenstrike. I think
maybe Berserk for a minute.
I looked at same as you. I looked at the recent fights and my heart wanted to pick Bam Bam Tuivasa so much, but he's lost his last 4 and he's lost all 4 by stoppage, 2 submissions, 2 KOs. That's got to weigh on you going in there, and I think Rosenstrike will catch him.
Definitely. I mean, obviously, look, he's going to get it. That's a given. It's not like he's slick defensively or anything. He's absolutely going to get it. I always picture that head kick from Gane, where all right, he didn't eat it, you know what I mean? But he was on his feet, he didn't go out with it. And it's probably as hard a strike as you're ever going to get it with, ever.
Yeah.
So I just think if he does get it, he can take that. And I can't remember who he fought, and he was out on his feet and just hit him with a right hand from the gods and put the other fella out. It'll come to me in a bit. But like in that fight again, he was done. Like you were literally just waiting for him to go to sleep, and then boom, he was back. I can see something similar happen. I think it's going to be Berserk for a minute, and that's arguably why I haven't said that this one will be fight of the night. I actually think it'll be too short to be fight of the night. I think there'll be longer fights that are a bit more wars than this. Yeah.
Well, I've actually got this one written as my fight of the night. This is the one I fancied for fight of the night, and my reason was the exact same. I think if you like the UFC for technical striking and elite level skill, this isn't a fight for you.
No.
But if you like it for sort of what the typical casual fan likes it for, and a good scrap, and it'll essentially look like a bar scrap, then this is for you. This is the fight for you, and that's why it's my fight of the night. I think even if this goes 3 minutes, I think it could easily be fight of the night. I think this is going to be one where, you know, the ones in the past where you've seen sort of Joe Rogan, John Anik and DC all going wild on commentary. I think this is going to be one of them. I can just see it.
I think if they're going wild like that, it's because Bam Bam knocks him clean, mate.
Yeah.
Frozen strike is snoring.
Well, I watched the clip this week. I watched sort of like a little 15-minute YouTube video, and it was like the wildest MMA exchanges of all time, or wildest UFC exchanges of all time.
Yeah.
And I've seen who was it? Czech Congo against Pat Barry from back in the day. And I don't know why this fight just reminds me of that, and I hope it is like that, where they're both, one's rocked, and then the next minute the other one's rocked, and the commentators don't even know what to say. And I can just see that in this fight, and that's what I'm hoping.
I know what you mean. I'm just checking Tsubasa now to see. It was Greg Hardy, wasn't it? Greg Hardy on the McGregor undercard. I'm sure it was that one. Yeah.
Did Greg Hardy have him rocked, did he?
Greg Hardy had him hurt bad. Like nearly gone, and just from nowhere, Ty just fucking hits him.
Have you got his record up there?
Yeah.
What is his last 4 losses, Hardy? I know they're the elite level, like.
It's Cyril Gane, Pavlovich, and then he lost to Volkov, and then Tybora. The Tybora one for me was a little bit like.
Yeah,
that was a submission.
That was a submission as well, yeah, against Tybora.
You get him down, you can submit him. That's why I like this fight. It's going to be a striking match.
Yeah,
against the striker, you know what I mean? So
I'd be shocked if there's any time spent on the floor apart from someone being asleep here.
Yeah, I know. And to be honest, the longer this goes, the 2 big boys that get tired. So
yeah,
there's even more chance for a knockout if it goes to round 2.
Definitely. This fight does not make the final bell in the 3rd round. Are we willing to say that?
Yeah, I am absolutely. I'm honestly willing to say it's the 1st round KO either way.
Yeah, I like a 1st round knockout myself.
Yeah. Okay, moving on then. Last fight of the main card. Again, one that's playing on my arse strings a bit with Lee. What are we thinking?
I really like Li Jingliang.
Yeah.
I really like him. His last loss was a split decision loss, and before that he lost to Gamrot. Like, it's tough. It is tough. I don't know a lot about Stardy's.
Sorry to interrupt you. He looked good against D-Rod as well. Really good. Especially like the way it was all messed up on the night.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, he's been around in the UFC for 10 years now, Li Jingliang, and he's fought the who's who, sort of. I don't know a lot about his opponent. I don't know a lot about Carlos Prates. But you know me, on the pods we've done so far, I like a dog. And 13-5 for Li Jingliang's just tugged on my heartstrings too much, and I'm on the Lee bus this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in on Lee.
Ooh.
I think 13-5 for the UFC vet fighting a recent arrival in the UFC. But bearing in mind that I've had a little look at Carlos's record, and it's not the most impressive record coming from smaller promotions.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like people say about like body work, don't they? And who you fought and stuff like that. I just think I don't know. I'm really torn on this fight. Really torn. Lee's been around longer. He has fought, like you're saying, he's fought Gamrot, he fought D-Rod, he fought Santiago Ponzinibbio, he fought Neil Magny, I think, before that.
Yeah.
Most of them he's lost to.
That's obviously he's got to lose quite a significant amount of losses on his record, hasn't he? He's got about 9 or 10 losses, I think, on his record. And it's every time he kind of steps up. I just don't know if this fella who he's fighting, this Carlos Prates, is a step up.
Yeah, I think it's a similar level fight, me, because Lee's lost to better people than this kid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Lee's lost. He lost his last fight.
Yeah.
This running on a win, couple of wins. So I think that plays into it. I'm going Prates. I'd love to go Lee, especially when he's 2-1 as well. But I'm on Prates.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair. About time we disagreed on a couple, isn't it?
And then going into the prelims, there's a few in there that you can have a little mooch at. I've just got it up now on the laptop. Junior Taffer, Walter Walker. That's a 50-50, like for me, especially odds wise as well. It's a bit mad. Let's see what they are.
They're both very close to evens, I think, when I looked at that fight.
10-11 or 5-6. Yeah, they're both more or less the same odds.
Yeah.
So that's a very close fight. Casey O'Neill, I'd love to go here again. Hometown advantage, even though she's like half Australian, half Scottish or something. But 5-4, 8-13. I don't know enough about Luana Santos to really touch that fight. I like Casey O'Neill, but that's not enough to risk the bet on for me, so I'm going to avoid that. Jack Jenkins, Herbert Burns. I watched Volt talk about him. I watched, I think it was Adam Catzel talk about him, and everyone was singing his praises, saying he's absolutely this Jack Jenkins. He's 1-6.
Yeah.
So he's not exactly a coupon builder, but obviously fancy him big. The only fight that I'm looking on betting on the prelims is Josh Kulabau.
Okay.
4-7. Like him. Fancy him big. Not bad odds, to be fair.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm going to raise you.
Go on.
On the prelims, I've done the exact same as you. I've scoured through the prelims. There's a couple of fighters who are fancy on there, but the odds just aren't worth it. I think at 1-6, and I think another fight I looked at was even wider, so I left them completely aside. My 2 picks on the prelims. Now, these are 2, where I said earlier, I've got 7 I like, but I'm only putting 4 on my bet. Neither of these are going on my bet. They're just 2 picks I like for the prelims. Both good odds. I like Ricardo Ramos against Josh Kulabau.
Yeah, okay.
I think Ramos will mix it up better. I think it'll be close, but I can see maybe a split decision or a 29-28 for Ramos.
So what have you got there then? So you've got Ramos. I know you said you're not putting this on, I'm just adding it up. So you've got Ramos.
Yeah.
Lee. You're going Rosenstrike. You're going Gamrot. You're going Erceg. And you're going Adesanya. So just as a 6-fold there, that's 33-1.
Well, you might as well add me 7th while we're on it.
Go on.
Me 7th is Casey O'Neill.
Okay. 7-1.
Again, another dog. I like Casey. She's lost the last 2, but I think she gets back in the win column here.
I hope so. You might. I mean, it doesn't say much persuading, but you might persuade me to get her on mine as well.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and I want to see her win. I think it's a genuine, obviously, the odds say it as well. It's a genuine 50-50 fight. I don't know loads about Luana myself,
no.
But I want, that's more of a want pick than a think pick. I want her to win.
I'm the exact same. Last week, we were both very close. We got 7 out of 8.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. I want to get a win this week and get a bet up, but I also want to risk it.
Well, that's sort of my reasoning for we'll obviously outline, because we've scratched around a bit, and sort of we'll obviously outline exactly what our bets are at the end of this now when we summarise. But that's why I've only really picked 4 as my actual accumulator that I'm going to place myself. I've given you 7, but I'm going to be placing the 4, and I'll summarise the 4 when we sort of get to the end now.
Yeah, I'm doing 6.
Yeah,
I'm doing 6. Not really any risks apart from Bam Bam. I am doing Bam Bam.
I wouldn't be surprised if the odds that I get for the 4 and you get for the 6 are pretty similar, because obviously I've got Li Jingliang in there at like 3-1.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you've got him on there, it could be. Okay, well, let's get to it then. So, what's your bet then, your 4?
So I've got Izzy to win.
Yep.
Steve Erceg to win.
Yep.
Gamrot to win.
Yep.
And Li Jingliang to win.
And the Leech. 9-1 to be fair.
I think I looked on William Hill, and I was 12.5 on there.
You get better odds then. You'll get better odds.
What's Li Jingliang there? I think you mentioned he was 2-1.
2-1 on here, yeah.
13-5 on William Hill, so almost 3, innit?
Yeah, so you're gonna get better odds there then for that. So me, I'm going to 6. I'm going Izzy, Erceg, also going Gamrot. I'm going Taito Ibasa.
Yeah.
I can't pick it at the minute. I would go first round KO, but I don't know what the odds are right now because they're not online. I'm going Prates and I'm going Kulabau. 6-fold, 19-1.
Okay, I like it. I like your picks. I like it a lot. When the time gets a little bit closer, I've kind of got for them 4. I've got like a bit of a wider odds one I'm going to do. Obviously, I can't get the odds at the minute, but I've got a pick for each fight of how I think the fight ends. So it's 3 decisions and 1 KO/TKO. The Gamrot fight I've got as a KO, TKO, and then I've got Izzy, Erceg, and Li Jingliang to win by decision. Just for a wide odds punt on the same 4 that I'm backing.
Yeah. For the record, anyone watching, if you ban Casey O'Neill on the 6, it goes up to 44-1. And if you ban Casey O'Neill on the 4 that Mike just said on here, it goes to Li Jingliang, Casey O'Neill, goes to 22-1, and you'll get odds on William Hill, like he's just said. So there's a couple there, like if you fancy losing some money.
Yeah, I'm not as confident this week as last week. I fancied all 8 last week. I'm not as confident. That's why I've gone for the 4 out of the 7. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think this is a card to break it up more on.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that.
But yeah, I mean that's the roundup. That's obviously our picks, what we're thinking. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. You'll probably disagree and be calling us all sorts. So please do that. Once again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Let's see you soon.